we're looking at a story from the very near future. A story about a city you think you know, but you probably don't. Not really.
I mean, look at it. You see those glittering towers, right? You see the luxury, this incredible global crossroads. To you, it's a destination, a place to do business, a place to vacation. You think, paradise.
But what if I told you it's not a city? It's a target. On February 28, 2026, that entire perception just shattered, because beneath that shimmering, perfect surface, this city was hiding a massive secret.
So, how does that happen? How does paradise become a battlefield? That's the question we're digging into today. How did one of the world's most famous skylines suddenly become the front line in a global war? Stick with me, because the answer is going to change how you look at, well, everything.
And the first reports coming out? Just absolute chaos. You're seeing images of smoke pouring out from near these five-star hotels. Dubai International, the world's busiest airport, is hit. It's shut down. The entire airspace is closed. Suddenly, thousands of people, tourists, business travelers, expats, are completely stranded. The Gulf is now a no-fly zone.
And right away, everyone is asking the same thing. Why? Why would you attack Dubai? This is a place that built its entire reputation on being neutral, on being open to everyone from everywhere. It doesn't add up.
But here's the thing. The first answer that pops into your head, that this was just some random act of terror, that's the wrong answer. The truth is way more calculated, and honestly, it's way more terrifying.
Okay, so this right here, this is the Dubai paradox. On the one hand, you've got the public image we all know, the tourism, the international business, the over-the-top luxury. But behind the curtain, there's a hidden reality. It's a hub for U.S. military logistics, it's a strategic naval port, it's a launch pad for American power in the region.
Now look, this isn't just some theory. We're talking about real, tangible assets. The UAE is home to Al Dhafra Air Base, which is absolutely crucial for U.S. air operations. And Dubai's Jebel Ali port, it's one of the only ports in the entire region deep enough to host an American aircraft carrier. The U.S. Navy stops there all the time. So to an adversary like Iran, Dubai doesn't look neutral at all. It looks like an undeclared American military base. And it's not like Iran was being subtle about it. They made their intentions crystal clear. Right after a major U.S.-Israeli strike on their country, the IRGC basically put out a statement saying any and all U.S. and Israeli military targets in the Middle East were fair game. So think about that. They weren't aiming for tourists on the beach. They were aiming for the hidden military machine you never even knew was running right underneath their feet.
And the scariest part is how fast this all went down. I mean, it was terrifyingly quick. First, you have the big offensive against Iran. Just hours later, the IRGC is on the record vowing massive retaliation, and bam, just like that, the entire Gulf is a war zone. This conflict didn't accidentally spill over. No, it was deliberately pointed right at Dubai.
So you have to understand, this wasn't just a response. It was a message, a huge blinking red sign. Iran was telling the United States and all of its allies that there are no more safe havens. If you host our enemy's military, you are no longer a neutral bystander. You're in the game.
And Iran backed up that message with just overwhelming force. We're talking hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones launched in wave after wave, all headed for the UAE. It was an attack on a scale that, frankly, very few people thought was even possible.
But wait, here's where the story takes another strange turn. This is the second big mystery of that day. Because the UAE's air defenses, they actually worked. I mean, they worked incredibly well. They intercepted the vast majority of everything coming at them. So if all the missiles were stopped, then what in the world caused all that damage we saw on the news? The answer is something called collateral damage from interception. It's a brutal, simple law of physics in modern war. When you blow up a missile flying over a crowded city, what happens to all the pieces? All that wreckage, we're talking tons of twisted metal and unspent rocket fuel, it has to fall somewhere.
And this is the absolutely horrifying irony of the whole situation. If you look at the stats, direct hits from enemy missiles were really low. The number of interceptions? Super high, a huge success for the defenders. But every single one of those successful interceptions created a new problem, a rain of deadly debris. The defense system did its job perfectly, but in stopping one disaster, it accidentally created a completely different one. And that fallout was devastatingly real. You had debris raining down on apartment buildings, injuring dozens of people, and even killing several expatriate workers. It started fires on the famous Palm Jumeirah, it damaged the airport, it was literally death falling from a clear blue sky. So let's step back. Why does this one event matter so much? Because in a single day, the old rules of the Middle East were completely shattered. The whole idea that you could be a neutral business hub in the Gulf? Poof, gone. Economic confidence in the region? It's plummeting. And the chance of a direct, all-out war between major countries is suddenly higher than it's been for decades. Just think about what this really means for a second. All the old lines we used to draw on maps, they're gone.
The line between a civilian area and a military target has now blurred so much you can't even see it anymore. That place you're planning to go on vacation, that city where your company has an office, it could be secretly hosting critical military hardware and you would have absolutely no idea.
And if that's the new reality we live in, it means the front line isn't some far-off place you see on the news anymore. The front line is everywhere.
Which leaves us with one final, very unsettling question. If a global hub like Dubai, a symbol of openness and connection, can turn into a battlefield literally overnight, you have to ask yourself, what city is next?